I'm working on my gear ever so slowly. Well, obviously, as you do, one of the things that I thought was kind of fun to point out is you always want to do your intel missions. Okay? And you notice how you can leave them open and then wait for the following day for them to refresh? You get more and you get more. It's kind of a fun little trick that I picked up. So you pop 3, you get another 3. And of course, if you're still ranking, right, and you're somebody that is kind of like in progression, you always want to do your intel missions regardless of what time of the day it is. But I've always felt like, depending on where you are in the game, right, whether you're like a mid free to play or if you're just somebody that's playing the game casually, the one thing that stacks up that makes a huge difference is doing your intel missions. Because you'll rack up a bunch of medals this way. Plus, you can get a lot of books and a lot of other things that really, in the long term, are going to make your life a lot easier. As far as, you know, any one person should ever focus on, you should probably dive as far into VIP as you can. And I would say the threshold's about VIP 7, more or less. And the reason being is because once you hit 7, you start getting mythic shards. And from there, you can just kind of ride that gravy train almost all the way. I mean, because, yeah, sure, you can, go up from VIP 7 to 8 to get the books. And then from 8 to 9, you'll get 2. And then from 10, you get 2 books. And then by 11, you're getting 3 shards. And by 12, you're getting 6 shards. So as you might imagine, in my book, trying to rush the remaining 600,000 gems would not be a bad option. Okay? But the main thing here is, and then this has always been my contention with it, is, how do you go about upgrading that VIP level? You can either spend your way to it, right? And that's how most people get to VIP 12. Or, and this is really in the long term, right? And this is months, if not several months, and you're like into Gen 4 like I am, then you start using gems, you start dumping more and more of your effort and time into basically improving that VIP level by logging in every day, and it's the little things that adds up, and eventually you'll actually acquire VIP levels higher and higher just by doing it over time, but it's not an easy feat, and I don't know, I mean, like, sure, you can acquire mystery badges, and I would say, the only real use of mystery badges in here is either for shards and or widgets. Is it the best use of widgets? Probably not, because it takes too many mystery badges. I mean, if you're free to play, great. If you can get a widget or two here and there, at 800 a pop, great. But I would say, pop any of the 50% ones when they become available, like this one here for 250, done. Go ahead and pick it up because you're going to acquire widgets that way. And it's not for a reasonable or unreasonable price. At 250 a pop, that's reasonable. But I point that out because I advocate for like using Frosty Fortune for widgets, but I also will point out that, yeah, you can get, for what you can get in Mystery Badge, once in a while, yeah, you'll pick up one free to play. But you're not going to get like 10, 20, 30 of them in a row either. And that's the other problem is, quantity over quality. If you're wanting quantity in a very quick, short period of time, money is always going to be the answer in this game. But in the short term, and the biggest thing that I can tell you is that you can, acquire these just by doing it this way. And so like here, go ahead and get the widget. Now, the thing is right now we're in stage of the power boost phase. This is where you basically dump everything from speeds to widgets to essence stones, but the main thing is mithril, which, if you didn't already know, basically you got to upgrade your gear, and that's, effectively how you'll wind up using mithril. But, again, in my case, I don't really have enough for it to matter. I do have some marks, though, so we'll go ahead and use those. And like I've been telling you guys, if you're not saving your, basically you need to be doing your attempts every day. But one thing you'll want to make sure you're doing is, between the attempts, getting the highest tier attempt, but also claiming your alliance shares and doing your shares. That's just something you should be doing. Now, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I think we'll do the lion, and we'll just go ahead and refine. And we'll do this until we'll just hit it on auto and let it auto refine for us here. And we'll just basically go ahead and use as many as we need to. And that'll get us pretty easily up in the rankings. I don't think we'll have much trouble there. And again, the idea behind auto is it's just going to do it for us automatically, but really all you'd have to do is just pay attention to whether it's green or red. If it's red, don't do it. If it's green, yes. Let's repeat. And so you'll use a fair amount of marks pretty quickly doing this. But yeah, it's like that. That's pretty much all of our marks. And so that pretty much gets us our actual rewards, and we're pretty much done for that phase. And then of course, Hero Phase 4, I didn't really do a whole lot on. So I didn't really have anything as far as shards concerned I wasn't going to waste. And so for Stage 5, I'll get my little extra added bonus. But that's, as far as SVS is concerned, it's usually about what you end up doing. As far as the Lance Championship goes, just make sure you're like 60, 20, 30 in terms of your troop comp. I do have occasional people ask me about this, and they're kind of wondering, like, well, what composition should you be using when you're attacking? What composition should you be using when you're defending? And in essence, you always want a lot of infantry, right? More infantry is going to give you a healthier backline. You're going to live longer, basically. The downside is you need the stats in both your infantry and your marksmen to be able to really make that work. And what often people will find themselves in, they'll basically struggle with this a little bit. But basically, when you're defending, Lancers are going to be the answer to this because marksmen are killing your infantry. So you need infantry and Lancers to kind of proactively defend whenever you're getting attacked. But on the same token, right, if, say, somebody has a ton of Lancers and a ton of marksmen, then the only thing you really should be providing them is infantry, because that's the only thing that's going to really diminish over time. And you might find that that player will lose marksmen, and so you might even add marksmen in from time to time. But most, if not everybody, wouldn't be wrong to send mix. But I am of the opinion, if you really want to give somebody a lot of help, just send them a ton of infantry, because that's just going to give them more to flake with. It just depends on whether they have a lot of infantry or if they don't, whether they have a lot of Lancers or they don't, or whether they have no marksmen or they don't. So it's the answer to the question of what do I send is always going to be what do they have. If they don't have hardly anything, then yeah, chances are it's probably not going to do them a whole lot of good. Now, the other problem too is who are they contending with either? That's the other problem, right? Like, obviously, if you're contending against somebody that is several furnace levels higher than you're also losing way too much than you probably need to, at which point it's kind of a fool's errand to think you're going to stand a chance. And that's the other problem. There's a lot of those troops per troop, and they're getting a lot more kills in, and therefore it's almost pointless to try to defend. So I say this, but it's like it depends on what is reasonable in your world, But outside of that, these are really about the only other tips I had for the day. So hopefully some of these would kind of help you out a little bit. But enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you guys next time.